footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, sitting next to Rafael Fernandez, and he's bringing you his top 32 wide receivers for the fantasy football season. He's going to give you top to bottom, 1 through 32. So let's just start the list with the number 1 overall pick, and I'm guessing it's not Ricky Sanders or Gary Clark.
No, at number 1 I have Andre Johnson of the Houston Texans. Here's a guy that consistently over the last 8 years has put up fantastic numbers for you. If you need a wide receiver early, pick him. He will continue to put up big numbers and score a lot of touchdowns for you. He is an impossible matchup, and will continue to be that this season.
Especially without someone on the other side taking coverages away from him. He's going to be the guy. He's going to constantly get a lot of passes thrown his way. Who's number 2?
At number 2, I have Megatron Calvin Johnson of the Detroit Lions. And here's a guy that has all the physical tools to be just as good as Andre Johnson. And the only thing is his quarterback has to stay healthy. If he does, though, he's going to get a lot of passes thrown his way. And he's going to score a lot of points. And he's a guy that can carry a football team as well as a fantasy team with his ability.
True threat at the wide receiver position. Number 3.
Number 3 is a bit of a sleeper in Hakeem Nicks. And the reason why I have him there is now, especially with Boss gone from the Giants and the certainty of Steve Smith, I believe Nicks, if he can stay healthy, which is a big if, is going to be the guy that gets most of the throws at him. And Eli's going to look for him a lot. He's a big target, and he's going to put up pretty good numbers if he stays healthy.
Number 4 on your list.
Number 4, I have Mike Wallace of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A guy that is a home run threat every time. He's going to put up a lot of yards and get a lot of catches because he's so fast. He's going to be open often. And Ben Roethlisberger is not shy about chucking it down the field. So he's going to get a lot of touchdowns for you on the right matchup. So he's a pretty solid pick.
He'd be a lot better if he ran other routes instead of the streets. So he has to find his way across the middle of the field. Yes. Number 5.
Number 5, I have Greg Jennings of the Green Bay Packers. And this is Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. And he's going to continue to be a top 5 wide receiver. He's been that for the last couple of seasons, and he's going to get you a couple of touchdowns here and there. He's more of a reception guy, so if you're in a PPR league, this is the guy you want. But in a regular league, this guy is a solid pick. Not the best wide receiver, but a solid pick already.
All right, who just missed your top 5 right there at number 6?
At number 6, I have Roddy White of the Atlanta Falcons, and here's a guy that most people would think he's going to be in the top. But I think the fact that now they have Julio Jones, he's going to get the throws at him, but I think Julio Jones is a pretty good receiver too, so he's going to get some throws as well. But I think the guy that benefits the most is Julio Jones is going to be Tony Gonzalez, not so much Roddy White. But Roddy White's still going to put up good numbers for the Falcons.
That's a solid slot for Roddy White right there. Number 7.
At number 7, I have Larry Fitzgerald, and here's a guy that even though he didn't have the best quarterback last season, still put up pretty good numbers in fantasy, and I still feel he'll continue to do that. I mean, he now has Kevin Cobb to throw at him, and the fact that they practice over the summer together it shows that it's going to probably have a little bit of cohesiveness. But I think Fitzgerald is going to be his favorite target, and he's going to throw it off. And he's a big guy, so even though Kevin Cobb is not my favorite quarterback in the league, I still think that Fitzgerald is going to benefit from having some throws back.
Yeah, whoever's back that quarterback is going to find Fitzgerald. That's a great target to throw to. Number 8.
Number 8, I have Reggie Wayne of the Indianapolis Colts, a guy that consistently has put up numbers every season, one of the safer picks in wide receivers, and he'll continue to be that as long as Peyton Manning comes back healthy, and I believe he will. So Reggie Wayne is a good pick.
Consistent wide receiver throughout his career, very solid player. Number 9.
Number 9, I have Santonio Holmes of the New York Jets. And here's a guy that's going to benefit from having Plaxico Burress there, because Plaxico, even though he's been gone for 2 seasons, you can't leave him open. You can't leave him one-on-one. You got to respect him. So what does that do? It opens the middle of the field for Santonio Holmes. And he's Sanchez's favorite target. So he's going to throw the ball to him often. He's going to get a lot of receptions, and he's going to put up a lot of points.
I agree. Who rounds out your top 10?
At number 10, I have Miles Austin of the Dallas Cowboys, and he was the favorite target of Tony Romo before he got injured, and he's going to continue to throw it to him now that he's healthy. So Miles Austin will continue to be one of the better fantasy wide receivers.
That's a deadly combo with him and Dez Bryant on the opposite side. Number 11.
Number 11, I have Dwayne Bowe of the Kansas City Chiefs. If you remember last season, he had that 7-week stretch where he was the best wide receiver in fantasy. He has that ability. If he could just get the ability to catch more balls, because that's been the problem he's had throughout his career. If he could improve on that, he could go from being from the top 10, from the second from the top 20s in the top 10 easily. He's a guy that has that ability. He has to improve on that.
When you have to ask, can your receiver catch the football better, then that's a problem in my book. Number 12.
At number 12, I have Vincent Jackson of the San Diego Chargers, and I think he's going to end up being one of the top receivers. I have him this low because of the fact that he has to share the role with Malcolm Floyd, but I believe that he's still going to get his numbers. I mean, one or the other. You take the gamble there, whichever you like. But I like Vincent Jackson more. He's the more physical of the two, in my opinion. And I think he's going to be the one that benefits from a lot of throws from Philip.
Yeah, one of those guys that's very consistent as well, catches everything. Number 13.
At 13, I have Mike Williams of the Buccaneers, and this is a guy that's going to put up pretty good numbers. He's Josh Freeman's favorite target, and he will continue to be that. As Tampa Bay improves, so will his numbers, and you will see that if you take this up.
He's hurt because they, spread the football around to all different targets. You got Aurelius Green, you got Kellen Winslow Jr. So that's what hurts his numbers, but that's a great slot for him right there. So who do you have next on the list?
At 14, I have Dez Bryant of the Dallas Cowboys, and here's a guy that if he continues to grow fantasy-wise like he was last season, he can end up being one of the top 10 wide receivers this season. He can even surpass his own teammate if things go well for him. He has that ability, and he's a matchup nightmare. And he could be probably one of the sleeper receivers this season.
See, I would flip-flop him and Miles Austin. I think Miles Austin might be a little bit overrated, but Dez Bryant is a tremendous game breaker, and you rarely get to use that word a lot. Game breakers when you look at Dez Bryant when it pops out on film, and I think that's what really separates him from Miles Austin. But who you have at number 15?
At 15, I have Wes Welker of the New England Patriots, and he's one of the safer picks. If you're in a PPR league, pick Welker right away. I mean, he'll put up numbers for you. And he's going to continue to do better because of the fact that now they have Ocho Cinco. And don't forget about those two tight ends in Gronkowski and Hernandez that demand coverage. So Wes Welker's going to be open all the time for Brady. And let's be honest, he's going to always look front. So he's going to have his catches and he's going to put a good number for him.
Who's the guy that rounds out the top 16?
Brandon Lloyd of the Denver Broncos. And I believe he puts up good numbers regardless of who's at quarterback. But the fact that it seems to be that is not going to be Tebow. Even though you love Tebow, that's no secret.
He wins.
But I believe Brandon Lloyd is going to put up good numbers either way. He's a guy that makes plays. Last season, he put up great numbers. Probably had one of the more quiet seasons as far as wide receivers are concerned in fantasy. But he's a safe pick there.
He's always had great hands, no matter what, whether he was in Frisco or out here in Denver. So he does a great job catching the football. So whoever's back there, quarterback, will have to find Brandon Lloyd. So that's your top 16. So let's just take a look at who you have for picks 17 through 32. For fantasy football previews, visit footballgameplan.com/fantasy or visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. And listen to the Football Game Plan radio show, which airs Saturdays 11 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.